They told you solar would save you money. They told you solar was the future. They told you the math worked. And then they changed the math. Turns out California reduced how much new solar systems are paid for excess electricity sent back to the grid. Export credits have been lowered by roughly 75%, from about 30 cents per kilowatt hour to around 5 to 8 cents per new applicants. New solar installations now face longer payback periods due to that, with projected lifetime savings potentially reduced by $15,000 to $20,000 unless additional battery storage is added. Yes, you heard me right, batteries. Now they want to sell you batteries. California spent years pushing rooftop solar. State leaders in Sacramento celebrated adoption numbers. Regulators like the California Public Utilities Commission approved policies that made solar look like a smart, stable investment. The message was pretty simple. Install solar, lower your bill, lock in long-term savings, and help save the planet. Under the old system known as Net Energy Metering 2.0 or NEM 2.0 for short, homeowners got nearly full retail credit for extra power their panels sent back to the grid. That's what made the numbers work. So families did the right responsible thing. They ran the numbers, they signed 20 or 25-year financing agreements to install solar panels. They invested $20,000 to $30,000 into their homes because the state said this was the direction. Then came the switch. California moved to what's called now net billing tariff, aka NEM 3.0, and overnight export credits dropped sharply, which means new solar customers would get paid far less for the extra power they sent back to the grid. The deal changed. Now, defenders of the change say it was about fairness. They argue non-solar customers were paying more to support grid costs. They say the system needed reform. Maybe, but here's why solar customers are angry. Why fix the math after hundreds of thousands of families already committed based on the old math? If grid costs were a problem, why weren't they addressed before pushing mass adoption? Because the average homeowner isn't a utility analyst. They don't study rate design. They trust the framework being promoted by the state and their leaders. And when the rules change midstream, it hits like a financial shock. Let's simplify it a bit to better understand. A typical system might cost $25,000. After the federal tax credit, maybe $17,500 rather. Finance over 20 years, that's roughly $120 a month. Under older assumptions, your electric bill could drop from $180 to near zero during strong production months. That's almost free electricity. But check this out. Under the new structure, without a battery, those export credits are much lower, which leads to the new pitch by California, battery. Oh yes, they say you need a battery now, which will cost you another $10,000 to $15,000. But wait, that wasn't part of the original promise. And that's why California residents are angry. Not because solar doesn't work, it does. Not because clean energy is bad, it isn't. The anger comes from a mismatch in timelines. See, homeowners sign 25 years loans. Politicians operate on 4-year cycles. Regulators adjust policies every few years, but families are locked in. California pushed adoption fast, way faster than most states. Charts looked great, headlines looked great, climate goals looked bold. But electrical grids don't operate on headlines. They run on infrastructure costs, transmission, maintenance, wildfire mitigation, and backup generation. Those costs never disappeared. Now regulators recalibrating the rules. And that is not fair to people who sign long-term agreements under different assumptions. People feel like the incentives today become drawbacks tomorrow, so they lose trust in California leaders. This is not just about solar, it's about EV rebates, it's about electrification mandates, and about the next big push. When people feel like early adopters become policy casualties, they hesitate the next time. And here's the bigger lesson. Anytime the government rushes to subsidize something, don't just ask what they want you to buy. Ask why they need you to buy it so fast. Ask what happens when the participation targets are met. Ask what happens if the economics shift 5 years later, but your loan doesn't. Because the state can recalibrate after you adopt, and they will. This isn't conspiracy talk. It's about predictability. When long-term investments are encouraged by short-term political frameworks, someone eventually feels squeezed. And right now, that someone is the homeowner. And until policymakers prove that future programs won't shift midstream, that trust gap will stay. People are losing trust. Clarity matters. If the rules can change, say that up front. If export rates might fall, say that up front. If batteries will likely become necessary, say that up front. I'm sure people can handle the truth. What they struggle with is moving goalposts. And that's the American backdrop. Stay sharp, stay aware. And before signing any long-term deal, public or private, always ask one question. What happens if the rules change? See you in the next one.